Hello, and welcome back to Soulstar Radio. I'm Jacquelene Closemore, and I'm your host for the next half hour on this wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, and possibly middle of the day somewhere in the earth, wherever you are. We've got a whole number of hours here of different broadcasts of different wonderful shows, and so I'm the first one up tonight, first cab off the rank. So you can phone in. You can have a reading live, and I'll be using dates of birth to work with, and your energy, of course, but date of birth sort of helps me as a bit of a link in. So, wow, what a week. Geez. I have to, first of all, really put healing love and prayers out all across the world with towards everyone, and a particular rest in peace and thank you to those who stand up against hatred. I want to say a rest in peace to those who've died in the situation of standing up to hatred, and for everyone else who's affected, sending you healing, love and light and peace. And to Heather Heyer and her family, I send you lots of love. To her family, lots of condolences, and to all who knew her and knew what kind of person she was. I've only just been finding out about her, but she's a shining light out there in what are some very interesting times. And, you know, when we talk about light and dark and we talk about polarities, we are dealing with light being awareness, and when we talk about darkness and there being no polarity and no duality, there is a right and a wrong, and it's really important not to tolerate intolerance. And I think we have to be intolerant to intolerance. And darkness to me is ignorance. Darkness to me is not being prepared to look at things as how they really are. Darkness is sitting in your own ideology or your own sort of very limited maybe understanding without going out into the world and educating yourself as much as possible, like where are countries on a map? How do different people live? Do we really have to want to change how they live? Maybe we might need to allow them to be who they are, within reason. And I'm all for free speech, all for freedom of expression, freedom of religion, as long as those things are not harming other people. So that's what I will say there. We've certainly also had some rather interesting times in Parliament in the last 24 hours, and I'm going to say that someone whose politics I normally do not agree with, I actually had a lot of respect for yesterday, Mr. George Brandis. So thank you, George, for speaking up against, once again, hatred and the whipping up of fear. This year is the year of the rooster. I keep going on about that, I know. If we look at all the rooster analogies, we're also looking at Chicken Little and, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Well, no, I think it's still up there. But if people keep screaming that the sky is falling and keep whipping up fear, well then pretty soon all the other, people or barnyard animals, as it might be, will follow Chicken Little. And, of course, we know how that story ends. It's got Foxy Loxy in his cave. I'll take you in, he says. Sure he will. It's interesting, the colour of the fox, really. You sort of look at the imagery of the fox and everyone thinks he's such a fool, don't they? But he knows exactly what he's doing. And if you look at foxes in nature, what you've got there is the fox will run around in circles. And all the animals will actually go, that guy's an idiot, And round in circles it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Boom. Gotcha. So you see, Foxy Loxy, they don't call it a cunning fox for no reason. So I think the thing is, have your views, be open to listening to other people's views, but don't be taken in. by those who are using cunning to change the story, the narrative, to what suits them, to get what they want from that situation. Truth is a very important thing. And so is tolerance. So is learning to love each other, care for each other, and have a lot of heart and healing. That's what I've got to say about that. I'm going to draw a line under that, and I'll be sending a lot of healing out today, as I do each week. I light up a healing candle and send that energy out to the world. So if you want to place your name into receiving some of that, well, you can either go online and put your name on there, or you can just simply go, all right, well, hopefully I'm going to get some of that. Put the intention there. It'll go to you as well. But that's also going to be going out to all people affected and globally, really. We've had some rather interesting times in Barcelona as well. And, yes, it's just really important not to whip up fear and dog whistling once again. But line under that. As I said, I'll be sending that out and moving right along. So today, getting on with some readings for you and bringing this back down to the individual, but also what I usually do with readings is I'll be talking to the caller, but you may also find at home that you relate in some ways to what might be happening for that person. And so sometimes that message that I'm giving will be, obviously very specific to that person usually, but there's going to also be, and callers, or listeners, you can also get something from this as well. So, take from what I do what you need and leave the rest, as we say. That's a very important thing to do. Now, our first caller is from Bradford in England. Are you there, Kaylee?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello and welcome to the show, and thank you so much for calling in. And if I can start with your date of birth, I can start doing a reading for you if you'd like.
Yeah, it's 1st of March, 1988.
Brilliant, not a worry. So what I've really got with your energy straight away is I do feel that you get a lot of energy and put a lot of energy into things that you feel really driven, directed, and very, very powerful about, and that when you're doing that, it's like you can get a bit hyper-focused, and I don't think that's a bad thing. It means that you'll absolutely see the attention to detail that you have to put into anything, but it can also mean that you can get really quite stuck into what you're doing to the point of kind of forgetting other things, if that makes sense. So sometimes you can be forgetting to eat, or you could be forgetting to go and do something because you're getting right into what it is that you're really focused on. And I feel that, I feel that allows you to get a heck of a lot done. I feel a sense of, at times, all or nothing. You're either really into it, hyper-focused, or not starting at all. And so that's where I feel as if sometimes you can be procrastinating because, you can still be tired from the last time you did that. It's like, I always just keep going. And so with that keep going, there is, an intensity. Also, with that intensity, that's what can wear you out is you can just have a lot of trouble moderating and pacing yourself. And I feel as well that there is the need to balance the very creative sort of thinking, creative problem solving, and even just creativity that you're needing to have access to in order to, keep your energy moving along. But there's also the side of you that needs to be very analytical. So you sort of have to have both. So if you were to say to me, I want a career that goes way over here into the left brain stuff, then there'd really need to be that right brain stuff. And then if you were saying, I want a creative career, I'd say, great, but make sure you're doing your own books. Because otherwise this can kind of get out of control, if that makes sense. We go to burnout. Yeah, so you kind of need to have a foot in both wheels in your case because that just helps you balance up. And so if we're going to do a creative career, you've got to do your own bookwork, even though you'll hate it. You'll absolutely hate it while you're doing it, and you'll do everything you can to procrastinate it. You'll watch some TV. We'll go and do the washing that you haven't done for a while. You know,
Yeah.
and then, there's the book, 3 o'clock in the morning, fabulous. So it is about having to kind of balance things with you. But I do feel that as you go along in life, this will get a lot easier. You'll get into a much of a more of a routine that actually works for you. I do feel that you can at times be really activated around the full moon, where you can get a heck of a lot done at night on a full moon. Particularly if you're having to write things or put your thoughts down, you'll get very, very clear all of a sudden. Or you'll have a booming headache, if that makes sense. It'll be one or the other, really.
Yeah.
At times. So sometimes there'll be the headache, other times it's like, wow, I wrote 10 songs tonight, but I'm not even a songwriter. How did that happen? I don't know. Okay. Now, question you wanted me to look at for you today, though?
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping that you might pick up on it. I found something out, and I'm just worried about it at the moment.
So there's a lot. It's a lot.
I found out that I'm pregnant.
Yep.
And the baby's father. Sorry.
I'll let you finish what you're saying. Yep.
All right, okay. I found out that I'm pregnant, and the baby's father, we've been on and off for years, but since I've told him, he's, like, ignoring me, and I'm just really worrying. I just want to know if he's going to come back, or...
I feel that this child's actually really going to be very important to you, as children of mothers are. But I just feel as if there's an incredible bond. There's a very strong connection. This is not going to be a child you don't get along with. This is not going to be a child that it's like, oh, geez, they irritate me so much. It's very much, it's very much a little person that you really understand each other so well that when you're having an argument, it's really because you so like each other you can't stand it at that moment as when they're a teenager. This child is, you like peas in a pod together, darling. So what I would say there is, regardless of Dad and where he's going to be, because I sort of feel like I'm looking at a leaf in the wind there, regardless of where he's going to be and what he's going to be doing and whether he knows what his role is, this child's just really important to you. And you are a unified front, this child and you. And this kid, I would say, don't worry about Dad. I know that obviously when we're pregnant, we actually do need a lot of support. We do need to, ideally we want the father in the child's life. But actually, you might be surprised how much this child actually gives you strength, even though it's not because you need it from them. It's just that they are one heck of a kid. They're one heck of a human being. And you're going to be able to do this, is what I've got to say to you. And, I do feel that you've been really at odds with what to do. But I actually, and I do feel it's going to be quite financially tough initially. But this kid gives you strength. This kid brings a real sense of routine, consistency, just a lot of things that are going to add together to give you an amazing quality of life later on. Don't feel at despair at the moment, quite as much as what you think you might need to be. There's going to be help for you that's there, and I really feel that around a older female who's coming in to help. And I don't feel that's just one person. Yep, and I feel you're going to have, I've got actually, it is 3 women, 2 more strongly around you, supporting you, and another one that's also supporting you, but she's kind of got a busy life, and sometimes she's, a bit erratic and eccentric, but, she's actually able to give light comic relief in the situation, and it's always good to have a friend who can develop humour in the weirdest of places and moments, and that's what I really feel you're going to have these people around you. So you're not going to be alone doing this, honey. You're not.
Good.
And so regardless of our leaf blowing in the wind guy, you will be supported, and there will be a relationship that will support you. And you've just got to take this one step at a time. And there's some pretty practical and incredibly blunt advice, I think, coming from the stepmother. Might I say that I'm not exactly sure the exact words that are being said there, but I really have to give her 10 points out of 10 for that. If it's a 5-star rating, it's probably a 10 as well. If that sort of breaks the star rating, but I'm with her and she's with you, so we're both with you, and you really will be given the resources and hints, tools, practical help to help you with this. And I just am feeling that our blowing in the wind leaf guy, that's what I'm going to call him.
Sounds like him.
Oh boy. Look, he just reminds me of many years ago. I did a reading for a lovely young lady who'd fallen pregnant to a guy like this one, and her mum came in and said, "Oh, I'm really worried about my daughter." And I said, "Yeah." Mm-hmm. And upshot, without breaking any confidences, the guy seemed to think that the universe would provide for this child. And I said, "Yeah, okay, but do you mind if I talk to your daughter?" And I said to the daughter, I said, "Look, I understand he has said the universe is going to provide for this child." And I said, "This child, however, what you want to say to him is, when the universe can lift the child up out of the bassinet, put the child onto the change table, lift the baby up, take the nappy off, clean that butt, and dump that stuff, and change the nappy, put the fresh nappy on, burp the child, put the child back in the bassinet, and take care of that nappy." When the universe can do that without him moving any hands or anyone else moving any hands, just levitating, the universe just doing all of that, then he can be absolved of all of his responsibilities. But until then, he's going to have to assist in some way. Now, that was in that guy's case, but in this guy's case, I actually feel that you are going to be able to do a lot of this without him. It's not going to be, in the end, a case of you needing his help quite so much. I'm just speaking more in the reference to the universe changing a nappy about, I think, some of his really floaty ideas of how things happen or don't, but I do feel you're going to be able to get some assistance from him with this. I do feel that he will play an on-off kind of role here, but I do feel you're going to be absolutely fine regardless. My message is really about you just staying strong. This kid, oh boy. The challenge, my dear, by the way, have really good child safety locks. This kid climbs.
Oh no, God, my son's like that already. Oh God.
Yeah, I would not have any lattice next to the house, okay? Because, that becomes a ladder. And look, Bobby, I can fly. Don't fly.
And it's funny you say that, because the baby's father, he said that he was exactly the same when he was little. Like, he was mischievous climbing.
Hello. Yeah, right? Yes.
Oh,
now, the other thing is this...
Can I ask you if you... if you know if it's a boy or a girl, are you allowed to?
I feel we have a tomboy girl, and it's a son you've got already, is it?
Yeah, I've got 2 girls and a boy.
Yeah. Two girls and a boy, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wonder if that's I think it's a girl. Let me know how I go with that. But I feel like I've got a tomboy there. And the fun will be, of course, when this child is a toddler and is telling you what to do. And he's very strong-willed, answers back and tries to parent you. You are not doing anything wrong. It's just that this is the nature of... I mean, it's really difficult when you're an old soul, you know, because you come down here and you go... Hang on, what's going on here? How come I can't sit up, you know, first thing, you know? And why are my hands so small? Why can't I walk yet? God, that's frustrating. And then why can't I run and drive a car? And why aren't I 25 already? And then when they're 25, oh, geez, I wasted that time. You're going to have to kind of work on getting this kid to kind of enjoy being a child instead of being a little adult, because these kids, you know, yeah, we've been around the block a number of times, and so you just kind of got to go with that. You'll be absolutely fine. But, yeah, I think that he's going to keep blowing in the wind, darling. That guy. But you're going to be absolutely fine.
If she's going to come back through the pregnancy or anything, or do I just need to prepare to be doing it alone through the pregnancy?
Intermittently is what I've got there. You know, I feel that he intends well in his own heart of heart, mind of minds, of which I think he's got about 2 minds, possibly 3. You know, he's very, very sort of on-off and, you know, has a lot of trouble being consistent in most things, I feel. You know, I feel he's consistent about stuff that, you know, feeds his indulgences, feeds what's comfortable for him, you know. But when it comes to responsibilities and things like that, yeah, okay.
That sounds like him.
Yeah, but I feel, look, he means well. A lot of people do. But I do feel that you're going to be absolutely fine regardless, and I just feel it's just really important to keep looking after you, main thing, and just be, you know, just be taking this one step at a time. That's the most important thing for you. And I think I'm wanting to elevate your legs quite a bit. Do you get swelling in your ankles when you're going through pregnancy?
No, not really. But I had SPD when I was pregnant last time, and I couldn't get out of bed towards the end of the pregnancy because I couldn't walk my legs.
Now that kind of explains it to me. I just felt like I'm getting swelling. I just really want you to have really good prenatal care. You know, antenatal care, whatever that's called, just while you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Just really want good care for that. It just feels like we've got to have the feet up quite a bit and relaxing. But the last pregnancy, what you're talking about, having to be in bed in the last sort of winding down period of it makes sense. But, yeah, I just think the thing is I'm just wanting to keep the stress off you where possible, you know, just because this has all been quite big for you.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Yeah, but you are going to be supported. I do feel you're going to end up being in a very supportive long-term relationship where you know that you are loved, you know that you can count on the partner that you'll have, and you know where things are going to be, and all your ducks will line up in a row, and it's going to have a lot of consistency to it that presently isn't there in the love life. So don't worry about right now and what happens with him so much, because ultimately, as you know from different points in your life, things have a habit with you of falling into the right place. Even despite what you thought you wanted, you end up where you need to be. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this this will work itself out so that you are going to, in the end, what I'm seeing for you, as I said, long-term future, I'm actually seeing you being quite comfortable in the end, being able to get along, have a routine, be a lot more secure financially, and have a whole heap of sort of routine around what you're doing to be able to know where you're heading and to feel more comfortable with your lot in life and all of those sorts of things. So I hope that makes sense for you.
Yeah, I hope it's true. Yeah, thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. I wish you the very best with it. I thank you so much for calling in and having that reading with me. And you can connect with me on the Soulstar Radio Facebook page if you wish. But for now, I'm going to wish you the very best. Go and have a nice rest. And feel free to get back to me at a later stage if you want. But I'm sending you a lot of love from Australia all the way across to Bradford in England there, darling.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome. So thank you there for our caller. We had Kaylee in England. Sorry I couldn't get through to any other callers. I've kind of been, spending more time with Kaylee because obviously that's pretty big what she's going through. And I don't just sort of go, put that caller through, next one, just bang, here we go. When you need to sort of open up the space and really speak to someone, that's a really important thing to do, no matter where that is. And that's what we've had to do today. So thank you for watching and connecting with us, and thank you to all of the callers who've tried to get through. And you've got some more shows coming up tonight on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. You can connect with me once again on Soulstar Radio, which you'll find soulstar.media, or just type in Soulstar Radio into Facebook and you'll connect with me there. In the meanwhile, I'm going to wish you a happy week and hopefully a less mad week. I do feel, things are going to be still quite interesting. We've got that eclipse coming through, but it'll get there. Try and stay calm. In the meantime, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then you really ought to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.